Okay. I'm hoping I can... Let me just start again. But what I wanted to talk about entirely was the recent YouTube purge that's been talked about recently in the news. We all know about the whole YouTube is starting to ban various creators, and I kind of want to talk about that effect on smaller channels. Because as far as I'm concerned, my channel hasn't exactly been affected by this so far.
I spill my drink.
What?
I spill my drink.
But yeah, that's become somewhat of a big problem because now we have it scares me because most small channels like mine can't really fight off against YouTube's terms of services. So essentially, if they were to shut down everything, I'd be stuck, and there's no way I can fight that. Now, granted, I haven't exactly done too many things, but we live in an era where people claim that you're a fascist without even knowing what a fascist is. And I think that is itself a problem. And I've done research on fascism, and it's... Most people are not fascists. Occasionally, you'll probably get some neo-Nazi groups, but for the most part, no one on YouTube is a fascist. And these idiots think that everyone who disagrees with them is either a fascist or a Nazi or some clans or a Klansman. And so the words themselves have essentially lost any sort of meaning they might have had. Which I think is a big problem. And, you know, it kind of surprised me because there are a few channels that have gotten taken down just for speaking various conservative viewpoints, and I'm a very conservative guy, socially. Economically, I'm a socialist. But, you know, that doesn't exactly protect me from the thing is that most of these people they are still capitalists. However, they have social Marxist viewpoints. Because they know, because their entire intention as to why they want to get rid of all the conservative viewpoints is that they want to, not only do they want to create an echo chamber, but the benefits of such an echo chamber would essentially mean that people are basically they want to get rid of any resistance because they know now that they are losing, and they have been funding politicians and all that, and you know, it's a very basic stuff and such. I mean, what exact freedoms do we have in this day and age that we didn't have, or that we've lost throughout the years? Because you can't even speak about... You can't speak about... I don't want... It's not, mine's not really my videos aren't monetized, so I'm not really worried about that, but you can't talk about, of course, black powder things that can fire lead into anything. You're not allowed to talk about that. But yet, people like Jimmy Kimmel are allowed to, who are supposed to be comedians, can just get away with talking about the same issues that would get any other YouTube personality banned within seconds. I mean, if I can just get banned for simply saying I support a certain politician, then who's to say that I can't be banned for doing anything? I mean, I'm a person who believes firmly that everyone should be allowed the right to free speech. Democrats, Republicans, communists, Nazis, you name it. Everyone should be allowed free speech. The only points where I think censorship should ever be considered a necessary thing to do is on the event that someone is making death threats. Alright, that's fine. But, I mean, having a dissenting opinion does not mean that someone... Because there are lots of people that I don't agree with on many things. I absolutely know many people in my class who I certainly don't agree with in terms of things like politics and religion. One of my best friends was a... one of my best friends was a pagan, I was an agnostic, more on the lines of a Christian at that point, but the point making is that we got along either way, despite our heavy differences. He was a communist, I was a socialist. We were different, but we got along pretty well, I think. I tried to be as nice to him as possible. I mean, just sort of accepted that, yeah, we're both very different in many ways. But that's how that stuff works, is that... I mean, everyone has a friend that they don't agree with on many things. And whether or not we like to admit it, that's a facet of life everywhere. And there are always going to be jerks who are going to make life harder for us. But, you know, this is the United States of America. We're all used to that kind of bullshit. But they don't actually have an argument in the end. And I just don't think that smaller YouTubers can really stay afloat for much longer if this continues. I think, quite honestly, everyone in YouTube needs to really consider... I might start uploading some videos on Dailymotion. I'm not sure if this will actually get my video banned, but what I'm saying is that YouTube needs to be shown that its customers are important. But, you know, Google is so big that they don't think, oh, well, you can't fight off against us because we own most of the internet. And to a certain extent, they're right. However, the good news is that Google doesn't own everything. And what's what I wanted to say? Yeah, but Google essentially doesn't care about profits as much as they do politics. And, you know, that's the thing about these sort of people, these capitalist social Marxists that have permeated throughout the world, is that they do sort of care about money, but not exactly. And they're willing to put their companies under just so that way they can achieve their goals. And YouTube blocking all these various channels, big and small, I think it's a total suicide mission. And I sure as hell can't fight off against it if they decide to terminate my channel. I know most people can't. Now, most people are not PewDiePie. Now, as much as I do, I don't watch PewDiePie, but I know that he's not. But he's someone who should be allowed to speak his mind, whether or not we like that or not. But you also have to remember, though, is that he is a big YouTuber. He's still the face of YouTube. I mean, YouTube tried to make it Logan Paul, but no one likes Logan Paul. No one. I don't even think YouTube's heads really like Logan Paul either. And let me just point this out while I'm recording some new footage, is that YouTube was built almost entirely by nobodies. PewDiePie, when he first started, was a nobody. And they're even targeting the big guys, you know, like Alex Jones. I mean, say well, Alex Jones, but him getting banned, I think, is just a sign of many, many horrible things to come in the future, and it's not going to get any better. I don't think it's going to get any better at all. It's truly a scary thing to think about. But it's happening right now. This Orwellian nightmare is happening right now as I speak. It's so dumb. But if it wasn't for the smaller YouTubers, YouTube itself would probably not have gotten very far. But what I also think is annoying is that we built this website. All those big YouTubers that people watch right now, like Markiplier, they started out small. They started out really small. If they hadn't started out small, they couldn't have gotten big. I mean, these people are running a business, one of the biggest businesses on Earth, and yet they care more about idiots like the Young Turks and CNN, who are mainstream news sources, trying to appease these idiots while ruining their own business. I mean, if Susan Wojcicki actually cared about what was important about this thing, well, I wouldn't be having to complain, and more people wouldn't have to be complaining either. But apparently we do. And in this day and age, why is that that your customers come second? And I can't think of too many places where that was ever considered a good idea. It's dumb. I mean, if they're willing to get rid of... If they're willing to throw people like PewDiePie under the wall despite his fame, and despite how many people will actually like his content. I mean, they've even thrown... Yeah. But they've even thrown out Anthony Fantano. I mean, as much as I might not enjoy Anthony's content, but you can tell he put a lot of work into that content. You can tell he enjoyed what he was doing. And he made money off of it. And you know, that's pretty good. But YouTube essentially kicked him off the website for the most part, and now... I mean, and this guy isn't just some small nobody. I mean, this guy is huge. This guy is really huge. And what do you think YouTube is going to do to the small guys? The ones that they are supposed to appease? Because if they don't care about the big boys, then they won't care about anything. I think it's become apparent that they just don't. They just don't care. I mean, they're too busy trying to create an echo chamber. While they own most of the market share of videos. I mean, well, who's going to compete with YouTube right now? Dailymotion. Because as much as I've said before, I am going to start uploading to Dailymotion as well, just so that way my videos don't get taken down. But it's not going to compete. It's not going to get nearly as many views. Because I started this channel to share my opinions. And maybe I'm not expecting to get these things monetized. I'd like to, but it's not going to happen. And ever since the whole 4,000 views within 40 hours, in order for your videos to get monetized, do you think people who actually need this website to live are going to be able to do that? No. No, they're not. Because that essentially has killed any chances of people being able to do that because they don't want it on advertiser-unfriendly content. Give me a break. Most people on this website agree on a few things. There's a very basic consensus. And I don't know, I've been through this website before. In fact, does anyone remember when the only thing you had to worry about on YouTube was some degenerate who just loved goats? And your only fear was that he was going to hack your profile and replace everything with a pink goat? Does no one remember when that was a thing, and that was the only thing you had to fear? That and Fred? I mean, come on. That's just... There's no way. It's like some kind of bizarre joke that you'd only hear in 1984 or even Brave New World. Because the algorithm has been set up in such a way that it drowns out all the smaller content and replaces it with stuff that YouTube deems friendly. I mean, YouTube has been trying for a while to kill off PewDiePie, and how have they done that? Well, here's what they've done. All they had to do was make sure the algorithm was set so that way Logan Paul would become the next big guy. But honestly, wouldn't it have been it would make more sense if people... It would honestly have made more sense if the algorithm favored things that had the most views. The old system, while easily exploitable, was a perfectly fine system, and it helped people get their voices out there. Nowadays, you can't do that. You really can't do that at all anymore. And I think that is the biggest problem with YouTube, is that it's no longer this platform that people can just sit down and enjoy. Like with Disney and what they've done to Star Wars, it has to be political. It always has to be political. And I've called out many people on this before. J.J. Abrams, Ian Flynn, and now Susan Wojcicki. And there is no way in hell that bitch is gonna get fired. I know I can tell you damn well she is not gonna get fired, because she has the condolences of the highest order from Google themselves. She is essentially immune to anything and everything. No matter how much she fucks up, no matter how much she destroys this website, she can get off scot-free because the guy who runs Google has the same goal in mind: create an echo chamber. They don't actually know how to run a website. They care more about their ideas. It's dumb. It's really dumb. And I honestly can't believe that I actually have to mention this, but it's a mess. I mean, it's a total mess. And if this continues, YouTube will eventually die. And they won't care. They won't care if this website just falls into the ground all by itself. Because they care more... If they can control the narrative, which they primarily do, why do they care? They don't care if they lose millions of dollars by screwing over their smaller content creators where most of the ad revenue came in from. I mean, as much as people love PewDiePie and all, Markiplier, as much as they bring in ad revenue, they only made up about they made up a good portion of it. But a good portion of it was also around small YouTube creators. And it's insane that the small guys who helped build this website get thrown under the bus, and what do we get in return for it? A bunch of policies to screw us over? A turkey? Jesus Christ, this is insane. I hate the people who run Google. And they're not gonna go away. I mean, even as much as I hate Bob Iger, at least he knows that he's supposed to run Disney like a fucking business. I mean, he knows that. And he treats it like a business because the moment he realizes he's fucked up, he says, okay, we need to fix this and this and this. He's not going to entirely fix the problem. He's going to do a few things to maybe minimize the damage without having to actually fix anything. But he at least recognizes the importance of money. Those Google executives are idiots. They truly are idiots. You don't put your ideology first. If you want to put your ideology into something, make a movie and shut up. I don't care what sort of world you're living in. You have to show respect to the customers, and you can't just throw them all under the bus. And as it turns out, YouTubers, we are the customer as well. We make you guys money, and you guys make us money. And you care more about your ideology. Piss off. Also, I just realized before I go, let me just say this. Don't give me that bullshit about private companies, because once you own a monopoly, you have to cater to everybody. You have to cater to the very you have to cater to all your customers. You can't just make one bad business decision and then say, "Oh, well, I just fucked up," or just go use the competitors. No, there are no competitors to YouTube. There are very little. So don't use that it's a private company bullshit. You can't use that. That's gone. If I pulled any of these stunts, I'd be dead. Like, my channel would be gone. Wasted. But no. YouTube can get away with it because they own most of the market share. They do. And you can't escape that. And you will never be able to escape it, no matter how much you like to think you can, how much you think you can go over to places like Mines. That's not feasible. Google controls most of our lives, and YouTube is the only one that people refuse to go towards because there's still a lot of good things on YouTube. You can't just go away just because most people use YouTube. In the end, what is there left in this site? Well, there's still plenty of things we can do at the very least. But, you know, we did this in 2016, we did it in 2017, we expected things would change, and they didn't. And I think that should really serve as some kind of warning to everybody more and more. There's no, just go to some other competitor, or they're a private company, or, but they're trying to be representative. No, there's no don't pull this bullshit with me. It doesn't work like that. The world is not some friendly world where capitalism all of a sudden can fix every single problem. I mean, I bet you most of these anarcho-capitalists who say, "Oh, well, we need to get rid of all these regulations on companies like Google because it's bad for the economy." All right, first of all, let me just say this, is that most of these idiots will be crying their lungs out if they had to deal with anything of this caliber. If Google was to take away their videos, they'd be crying and claiming that it's their right to free speech. Well, it wasn't your right to free speech when it becomes a private company. As you said, they're a private company, so they can do this. So enjoy your little nightmare, you stupid. So just enjoy the nightmare. It's gonna be really fun, and especially marvel at just how bad it's gonna get for the little guy. Just let it get as bad as cut myself off. But yeah, just let it get as bad as it's gonna get. Let that continue to perforate. And it will. It'll be a case of, told you so. And it won't stop. And unless we really make some kind of mass migration to other video websites. And there's some kind of coordinated effort to make sure that no one video website becomes the dominant website. It's not gonna happen. No one has that kind of time or money. There is no coordinated effort. The closest thing you're gonna get to that is probably 4chan. And I'm not even sure about that, to be honest. Because you really would have... Because even 4chan has had some trouble with that to begin with. The only person who was able to ever cause Google any problems was a skunk fucker. And yeah, that is the closest anyone's ever gotten to actually toppling Google. But, I mean, it's true. I think I'm honestly ranting in circles at this point. But yeah. That just annoys me that I can't make money off of my own work. It annoys me that I have to constantly deal with the fact that my voice can be silenced at any point in time. Any. And there's nothing I can do about it. And there's nothing anyone else who's watching this can do about it. Because no matter how much you like to admit it, things have gotten out of hand, and Google owns a monopoly. They might as well be owned by the government at this point. If we don't want to deal with another state capitalist nightmare like in the Soviet Union. So yeah, in short, the biggest detriment to YouTube itself is management. Not the racists or the neo-Nazis or the communists entirely. It's primarily the management, people who run the site. And it's not going to go away anytime soon.
You still don't get it, do you? He'll find her. That's what he does. That's all he does. You can't stop him. He'll wait for you, reach down her throat, and pull her fucking heart out.
Doc,